The road to British Olympic cycling glory is not paved in gold.
Whoa, Cavendish upended.
It is strewn with rocks.
Another Sunday in hell.
Setbacks.
I've crashed before. I'll crash again, you know.
And pain.
There's no easy days in cycling anymore.
It's always a battle against myself.
It's about highs and lows.
Shit.
Damaged skin, ripped muscles, and dented dreams. Led by ambitious mastermind Dave Brailsford.
I hate losing. Oh.
In 2012, these British riders achieved a cycling first, winning the Tour de France and, just days later, Olympic gold. In British cycling's most amazing year, this is the inside story of their road of tragedy, survival, and triumph. Three months into the season, Dave Brailsford's star riders have taken win after win after win. But these giants cannot win alone. They need strong support riders, Ironmen, known as domestiques, to smooth their path to glory.
Well, a domestique is essentially the engine room of the team, so they're absolutely fundamental to the whole sport.
Well, they're more important than the people that win the bike races, really. Without them, I would be incapable of winning something like the Tour de France.
It's easy for a non-cycling fan to look at cycling and think it's an individual sport. It's a massive team sport. I'm just part of a machine, put into a position that works most effectively to win.
Domestiques provide protection and shelter.
Ross, tailwind.
They ferry food and drink.
That's cat bottle.
And position the star riders for the best possible finish. Dave and his management team have carefully secured some of the world's best domestiques to give the best chance to the lead riders.
Are we going to the Tour with the best team? Yes.
Scrutinising their performance in the 34 races run before the Tour de France,
Go, go, go.
Dave wants a team of domestiques who outperform everyone on the circuit.
We thought about maybe creating the best team within the team, which would then optimise our chances of winning. We'd like to think that the domestiques in Team Sky are good enough actually to be riders who could perform in their own rights. It's quite a sacrifice.
The Tour de France is Dave's holy grail. But for many cyclists, there is a one-day race that's even more sacred, Paris-Roubaix. It's a race that pushes even the toughest riders to push themselves to their limit. Its winners are treated with reverence and enter the cycling annals of fame.
If you win that race, you really become into history. It means a lot.
It's special. It was my favorite race, and so many riders have the same feeling.
I generally like racing that race. I love it.
First run in 1896, and menacingly referred to as the Hell of the North, Paris-Roubaix is one of cycling's greatest prizes. It's a 257-kilometre bump across rough, cobbled farming roads and finishes in the Roubaix Velodrome. Renowned for its crashes, it's a race that only the hardest men complete. On average, only a third of the starting riders survive to cross the finish line.
To line up in Paris-Roubaix, you know you're in for a hard day out.
It is really punishing. You feel it for a week. Everything is hurting, your whole body.
You know that it's going to be a long, arduous race that builds up crescendos at the end. And it's got such history. Hard race.
It's the day before the race, and the supporting sports director, Servaas Knaven, a former Roubaix champion, is here to assist preparations. In 2001, Servaas won here, earning him a place in history. He's uniquely equipped to help the supervising sports director, Steven de Jong, test the team on the demanding cobbles.
And you follow this road, you go on the highway, and you go up to Kortrijk. The boys are gonna do a recon of Paris-Roubaix, And it's important, for to check the tire pressure, what feels best, and also to fresh up a little bit their minds, like how the race will be. We have 8 experienced riders here who loves to ride the cobbles. For them, it's the best race of the year.
The Roubaix squad will be riding in support of Juan Antonio Flecha, who has finished in the top 10 6 times and is earmarked for Tour de France team selection. So he's looking for a good placing tomorrow.
Every Roubaix you race is like a book of stories. If I win one day Roubaix, it's going to be an amazing experience for me.
Flecha's bid for glory would be supported by a team of domestiques, including Matt Hayman.
Fletcher probably deserves to win this race. I mean, he's one of the most consistent Roubaix riders and he hasn't won it. For me to be personally responsible for someone else to win it on my team, that'd be pretty fantastic.
Matt joined the team to ride with Bradley Wiggins in 2010. His 12-year career as a domestique began at a time when the sport was mired in drug scandals.
I came into it in that period and I just said, well, it's better just to make my money being a good domestique than because I've had a feeling what a leader needed to do and I wasn't willing to do that. Sure, if you do win, that's great and you get paid a lot of money, but it was a bit safer just to sit back. And I think times have changed now.
The end of the recce of the cobbled course takes surveyors back to the legendary Roubaix Velodrome. Here, his own win is recognised along with other champions, each name immortalised on the side of a shower stall.
Here it is. You see, I walked there. It's nicer. Yeah, that makes you really proud and happy, of course, and you're part of the history of this race, and that's, of course, that's really nice.
Back from the recce, Matt wants some final adjustments made to his bike before tomorrow's race.
Just doesn't go fast enough. Can you do something about that? It's never the craftsman, it's always the tools.
It's about being confident that I'm going to stick to whatever plan that the team has and whatever plan I have in my head of never giving up and always fighting.
Dawn breaks on race day. Matt knows he's got a big job helping Fletcher and managing his own energy through the demanding course.
You start with a big bag of sand and you stick a knife in it and the sand drips out, and at the end that's your energy, you know. If you start sticking too many knives in it and the sand falls out too early, you run out of energy. So you really have to control the use of that energy.
Good luck, boys. You know what to do there. You can ride the cobbles.
As the race gets underway, Matt and the other domestiques set about keeping Fletcher fed and watered.
Bottle? Can you give a bottle?
Before long, the first section of cobbles reminds everyone of the hell they're in for. Soon the rough rocks have taken their toll on Matt's bike.
What's up, Matthew?
It's making noise, and when I stop pedaling, it's squeaking. No. Go, Stephen.
Yes.
Running repairs made on the move allow Matt to rejoin the race.
Okay.
Crash, boys, crash, big crash.
Crash, big crash.
Big crash, okay.
With news of the crash, hurried checks are made to see who's involved.
Yeah, have a look.
Guys, somebody involved in the crash?
TJ, I've got 4 behind, but I'm okay. Is everyone else in front? I'm behind.
Matthew is behind.
Fletcher was in front of the crash, but Matt was caught behind, so he has his work cut out to catch up.
Okay. Great work, Matthew. Come on. If you can gap across, that would be perfect, eh?
Check 4.5 to the next cobbles.
4.5 to the next cobbles.
Getting back into the race over jolting cobbles pushes Matt beyond his pain barrier.
The moment everything's not going right, all of a sudden that pain turns to unbearable pain.
Then it's 1.5 till the second part.
You can ride on the pain a little bit. When you get to that point where it snaps and you can't take it anymore, then all of a sudden the pain seems to be a hell of a lot more.
Belgian rider Tom Boonen makes a break from the pack. Fletcher is in a strong position and gives chase.
Come on, guy, you're doing good there. Come on. Come on.
Boonen enters the velodrome with a commanding advantage and takes a glorious win. Fletcher comes in the following group in fourth.
There's still 8 riders in front. 8 riders in front.
After 6 hours of bone-shaking discomfort, dirt and dust in support of Fletcher, Matt enters the velodrome and comes in 8th, a personal best.
Today I did my best, and doing everything and trying with the team and everything. That was the result, the 4th place, and I have to be happy for that. The team has to be happy for that, but of course, it's not a victory.
Yeah, Fletcher was super strong, and yeah, unfortunately he's not on the podium.
Fletcher was good again, as always, and we got caught in this bone and went really early, and we got caught between a rock and a hard place. So, gave it everything. We keep chipping away. Obviously, you saw how strong we were as a team today, but it'd be nice to win one of these. Here's my wife. She'll probably go and have a chat. Hi, love. How are you? How are you? I'm not too bad. Another Sunday in hell.
Ironman domestiques are essential to Dave's plan to draw extraordinary performances from his lead riders.
It's a full-on existence for a domestique, and you know, they're really, really hard-working guys, and the team couldn't function without.
The next challenge in Matt's year will be the Tour of Norway, a 5-day race demanding close teamwork from the domestiques. The team's next race will be the 5-day Tour of Norway. Dave has chosen Matthew Hayman and 2 other domestiques for the squad, 3 riders with different skill sets. Matt is the master tactician. With 12 years as a professional, he will control the overall race plan with the sports directors.
Feels like it's tail or at the moment, but not too much.
Luke Rowe, the apprentice, is in his first professional season. At 22, he's the youngest domestique, hoping to fuel the engine room of Dave's ambition.
As ready as I'll ever be. Good to go.
Michael Barry is one of the team's elder statesmen. He sets the pace during races, but at 36, this could be his last year.
It's gonna be good today, guys.
Races like Norway, run in several stages, provide the perfect training ground to hone stamina, speed and tactics.
It's important to get the bits of the jigsaw to come together, ride together, and ride to win.
Let's go for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, almost.
A week before Norway, at home in Spain, Michael is recovering from a bad crash earlier in the season.
Way too much. In the center. I broke my elbow, basically, and I also fractured my femur and a couple ribs. So I was essentially, for 4 weeks, I was in a wheelchair. That 4 weeks off the bike was pretty much, I think, thinking back, I don't think I've ever been off my feet for that long a period in my whole life.
Michael's aware that new injuries now could hasten his career's end.
It scares me. As I'm getting older, I see my generation, kind of, there are fewer and fewer of us with each season. So it's something that I've become aware of in the last couple of years. You know I'm going away to the race tomorrow, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then?
You come home.
That's probably my favourite film, Twin Town. It's based in Wales, so anyone in Wales who hasn't seen that, it's well worth a watch.
For apprentice Luke Rowe, the Tour of Norway represents a massive opportunity. Only 5 months into his first professional season, his performance will be under close scrutiny.
You're like sort of anxious for the race. It's in the back of your mind. You're thinking about it, how it might pan out, but you know you don't really want to be thinking, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? You just got to stay relaxed and go into it and do your job. And if you do your job the best you can, then that's all you can ask for.
Riders spend long periods away working, so time spent at home is brief and highly valued.
I don't think he has much of an idea of what I do. Do you? Yeah. No.
Matt's catching up with his wife and young son.
Me being a more mature rider in the team is also, with fatherhood at home, pretty much goes hand in hand. I hope to think that in a race I'm pretty hard when I have to be, but I can also be caring at home and a good dad, I hope.
Matthew wants to be good at anything he does, so he tries really hard at anything he does, so he's a great dad. He's also a very good bike rider.
Matthew, Luke and Michael arrive in Norway. Domestiques can expect to spend up to 30 weeks of the year living out of a suitcase. With Michael as a roommate, Luke's already learning how to survive life on the road.
The one thing I always do when I leave the door is just think shoes. Like that, as long as you got your shoes, everything else you can sort of get away with.
I think there's always like a bit of an unknown factor because you don't know what the day's going to bring. So look out the window, look at the weather. That's probably the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning.
As far as a stage race goes, the way I try to look at it is just take it day by day and do your job as it comes.
Luke, Matthew and Michael will be riding in support of Norwegian Edvald Boasson Hagen. With a strong record of wins, including 2 stages at the Tour de France, he's a national hero here.
I have this really nice race and I look forward to do it. And I feel quite strong as well, so I hope it's going to be a good race for the team.
Racing on his home turf, Edvald is expected to dominate the week. Dave Brailsford has earmarked him for Tour de France selection, so a good showing here is vital.
Great bike rider, all-round talent, great personality. I think the thing about Edvald, he can win. You know, Edvald can win bike races.
But those wins will only come if the domestiques do their jobs well.
There's a lot of work that goes on in a bike race that people never really see. It wouldn't function. If everybody just rode as individuals, then you know, it just wouldn't work. So they're absolutely fundamental to the whole sport. I think most of us, you know, as humans, we kind of know where we are in a pecking order. And I think that's the same in the sport of cycling. You kind of know where you're at in your level. And because it is such an important role and highly regarded by everybody within the sport, I think people can say, right, OK, I'm going to make my living by being the best at doing this.
You need a super strong team behind you to get you in position to win the race.
Sports director Marcus Lundqvist briefs the team for the first stage of the race.
So that's the circuit, 8 kilometer long. 3, 2, 1, 650. Just make sure you communicate and look after Edvald Lars Petter throughout the day too. Let's go out, win the bike race, guys.
No pressure.
No pressure, but
in the bike race.
The domestique is there to get the leader as far as possible, as fresh as possible. So that means the domestique will keep the leader out of the wind, will position the leader in the front of the peloton at the right moment, will keep him fed, just also riding on the front, setting up the tactics so that the leader is just in position for the final surge to the line.
Stage 1 begins. It is a grueling 185-kilometre marathon from the city of Sandfjord to the country's oldest city, Tonsberg.
Okay, good luck, man.
As the team's most experienced domestique, Michael puts himself on the front of the group to control the overall race pace. 70 kilometres riding into the wind. This helps conserve Edvald's energy by as much as 30%. When the heavens open, the domestiques mobilise. Matt, Luke and the rest of the domestiques drop back to the team car to collect food, drink and waterproof clothing for Edvald.
Edvald's gloves?
Yep.
A rider can burn off 7,000 calories during a stage. Domestiques shuttle back and forth to the team car to keep Edvald fed and watered. With 2/3 of the race complete and the weather improving, Matt's role as tactician comes to the fore. He relays updates, strategies and potential hazards to Edvald in preparation for the final sprint.
Matt, they say there's some slippery white paint on the circuit. It was Nick said, so you just tell them watch out.
Matt's a good leader. He's a great team player. He's very disciplined. He's a positive guy. He's a fantastic bike rider. The absolute epitome of what you want in the heart of your team is those type of characters.
After 5 hours of labour in support of the star, the domestiques drop back. It's now down to Edvald to make their work count. Despite the domestiques' best efforts, Edvald can only manage 3rd place. Matt, Luke and Michael retire to the bus, while the star explains the loss to his disappointed fans.
We push the limit quite often. It's often go wrong.
We've executed the plan almost to, you know, those last 100 meters when Edvald's charging towards the line. He's misgauged his sprint a little bit, and but prior to that, the team's ridden perfectly, and being a part of something like that is a great feeling, you know. When you see the team working like that, you know the victories will come.
With 4 punishing stages before the race is over, their performance tomorrow is crucial. Dave Brailsford's team is in Norway. They're on their way to begin the 2nd stage of the race. Riders can spend 200 days away each year. With hundreds of kilometres still to go, the tour assumes a familiar pattern.
When we're away racing, we live in a bubble, and I guess it's probably what clowns feel like when they're in a circus moving from town to town. There's a whole rhythm to it, and you fall into that rhythm. It's a strange place to be.
I'm lucky enough to have this second life where you travel around and you're a bit of a rock star for a while. But often after you've been away for 1 or 2 days, and if you're starting to get tired, and that's when you miss home and miss your family.
It's certainly hard at times, and you know, spending as long as 6 months away from home, sometimes it does test you a bit, but no, I mean, you know, I'm living a great life and I couldn't ask for anything more at the moment.
Today, the Norwegian fans are out in force, and there's only one name on everyone's lips. On the bus, the more experienced domestiques, Mike and Matt's focus is on how to fulfill the fans' expectations.
If we've been riding all day, it's a lot harder because the speed goes up quite a bit.
But even
I don't think, like, if we've been riding a lot, you can't count on us to be there then, but we'll
absolutely
try, you know?
And that's why you
like,
are
I
in
think
the
yesterday
beginning.
we made it to 3,500.
And we definitely need 2 guys in front of Edvald after that last corner.
Matt and Mike have identified that Edvald needs a bigger windshield of domestiques to save his energy before the final sprint.
What's important, that's that you have the legs, and Edvald, you know you can win it if we get it right. And we think today is a pretty good day to get it right. National Day in Norway and Edvald's birthday. So let's get behind Edvald today and give it another go. Luke, great job yesterday. Get on the wheel of Edvald, who will stay with the team. Matthew, Michael.
Luke will be part of the lead-out, a task for the fastest domestiques, who will shield Edvald until the last 150 metres. As a new professional rider in his first season, Luke still has a lot to learn, but he's already impressing his team.
He has a good eye for cycling. He has a fantastic working morale. There's never a problem with Luke. If you ask him to do something, he will do it.
For someone like Luke Rowe, you know, he couldn't ask to be in a better setup for a first-year professional in terms of having the sort of riders that are around here, in terms of being role models for him, the sort of support staff that I would only have ever dreamed of in my first year as a professional.
I think when you're young and you just stepped up, you're still on that voyage of discovery. You don't know how good you can get. So he's just going to be full of ambition and full of belief and think, right, you know, why can't I just keep getting better and better every year, getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and get to the top of my game?
Luke spent years on the amateur circuit before getting to this place.
I remember getting a phone call, you know, saying, you know, we'd like to offer you a contract, and it was just probably one of the, you know, proudest moments of my life, you know, to get a place on this team. I always wanted to be a professional cyclist. It's always been my passion. I've always watched it and loved it, and I was never much good at class. I was always staring out the window and staring at a blank sheet of paper, so now it's what I've always wanted to do, so it's a perfect job for me.
Luke's love of cycling has been nurtured by his parents from an early age.
The earliest one really would be this one, with his little toy tricycle. And then this one here, it's a bit more serious here because this was his first ever race, I guess. This is Luke. He won the overall, so he's there with his trophy, all very proud. And here is Cav, and he'd won his age category. So who would have thought when that was taken in 2001, 11 years later, how things have turned out.
Luke's dad, a cycling fanatic himself, is enormously proud of his son's success.
You know, we're really close. If I'm not careful, I could end up, you could end up stalking your own son. You know, and I think it's just important to just to leave him get on with it. You know, I mean, I'm as proud of him as any other parent is, but I don't want to live my life through him, and I want him to be his own man. There's no doubt Luke's job for the next year: keep his nose clean, keep doing his job, keep getting the bottles, keep getting the capes, keep sheltering from the wind, and slowly move up the ranks till hopefully one day it'll be his turn for someone else to get the bottles for him.
Luke recognises that day could be some way off. As a novice domestique on the professional circuit, prize-winning opportunities are few and far between.
It's a bit weird, you know, to a certain extent. It's the better you get, the less you win. Like as an under 12, under 14, under 16, you go all around the country and win, I don't know, 10, 20 times a year. And then as you get junior and it's a step up, you win 5 times a year, and then an amateur, you win like 3, 4 times a year, and now it's a pro and you know, I haven't won.
Today, once more, Luke's duties are to his star. Stage 2 is a 163-kilometre slog that will take the team from Norway's capital city of Oslo to the riverport city of Drammen. After yesterday's unexpected loss, the national hero is looking for victory. The pressure is on.
Nice weather. Good to go.
Good luck, guys.
Early tactics remain the same. Michael rides on the front of the group, controlling the overall race pace.
Good job.
Domestiques isn't just some kind of dumbed-down job where you just go and it's just brute force. There's quite a lot of guile and knowledge needed, and I think that's what you got in Michael Barry.
In a stage that will take around 6 hours to complete, competition is slow to show itself, and the mood is light.
There are different sensations and emotions in the different parts of the race. When we're just cruising along, just a steady tempo in the group, there's this sensation of camaraderie. You chat with the other guys.
While Michael rides up front, Luke, Matt and the rest of the team protect Edvald from the competition. At every stage, strategies are reworked. At the car, Matt is discussing the final sprint with Marcus.
Start with Luke then?
Yeah, start with Luke, like we talked about. Then it's perfect. Okay. Good luck, guys.
With tactics in place, Matt, Luke and the rest of the team begin to assert their influence on the race, moving as one to take their spot at the front of the group.
When we get closer towards the finish, then the speed picks up and everybody starts jostling for position. It completely shifts where the conversation turns into yells and screams and swearing and whatever.
When you watch a race on TV, you never get the full idea of how crazy it is towards the finish of a bike race. You know, you've got guys coming into the last 15, 20k who are literally doing kamikaze moves and putting their lives on the line, and it really is quite crazy and manic.
Near the end of the race, the team carry out the lead-out plan and accelerate towards the finish.
Okay, you're passing 1k to go.
Edvald shelters behind Matt and Luke. At the front, Luke sprints forward, then peels off and Matt takes over. As Matt finishes his sprint, he looks back to check Edvald is ready. He then peels off, leaving Edvald to charge to the line. Despite a perfect lead-out by Matt and Luke, Edvald fails once again to take the win. The dejected team retire to the bus. Tactician Matt is frustrated by today's events.
Just a shame that we can't seem to win a stage with Edvald. It's getting a bit repetitive. Seem to be doing everything right, just not happening. So let's see tomorrow. Tomorrow's a different story. It's not easy to win races. People expect him just to win. I mean, obviously he's a favourite, but so yeah, everything has to go right, and we've been pretty close. But I don't know, we just keep trying.
For the Star to win, the Domestiques must keep the faith in the knowledge that their individual roles are part of a bigger picture.
The key thing is clarity of role. Do the guys understand the strategy and the team's plan going into a race? Do they understand their own role within that plan? So I think, you know, the final piece of the obvious jigsaw is role acceptance.
The self-sacrifice will become even greater for Matt, Luke and Michael in the next, toughest stage of the race. After more than 500 kilometres and 3 testing stages in the Tour of Norway, Michael Barry's tired limbs need attention.
It's pretty tight.
Is it?
Yeah, it's really tight.
It'll loosen off, just bend it, keep bending. See how you get on.
Okay.
It's a punishing sport, and Michael's 16-year career has taken its toll. Family life also suffers on the professional circuit. As retirement beckons, Michael knows there will be challenges ahead.
I've seen a lot of cyclists basically lose their families and because they can't reintegrate, and all they know is the cycling bubble, so they continue living in it after they've retired because they don't know how to move on to something else. And on some level, I think I've always prepared myself a little bit for it.
There's been years where he's been on the road, like, you know, 175 days of the year, or 200 days of the year. That's a lot. I look forward to him retiring in the sense that we'll hopefully have more time together in the future. But at the same time, you know, I've been quite happy to see him flourish through his career.
Michael is one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He's not the one who gets all the limelight and that, but has helped so many riders in the past win so many races. He's got an amazing love for the sport. He knows a lot about the history of the sport. And the day he stops cycling, I think he'll continue to be around the sport.
I think the decision will come. It'll be pretty clear at some point. And right now I'm just going to focus on the racing and enjoy doing that, and then the rest will fall into place.
After disappointing losses in the first half of the Tour, the team prepare for stage 4. The toughest stage of any race is known as the Queen Stage. Today it is a series of taxing climbs through the mountains which sit between Hamar and Edvald's hometown of Lillehammer. Domestiques and Star regroup once again, to try to deliver a victory.
You wake up every morning and you feel tired, and you know, a lot of days you just feel too worn out to get on your bike, but you have to get on your bike and you have to race, and you have to race to win. And when you experience that with someone else, it's much, much easier.
A lot of people back home aren't really aware that how much of a team sport it is and how much one person relies on his team to get the end result. I think we're all trying to do the same thing, and we respect each other and what we're all trying to do.
You need to have a good team spirit, and that's really important, so everyone could work good together.
It's like playing cards, and you know, you play your hand, and what's your best chance of winning? I mean, Edvald, you know, super talent, and you know, I enjoy riding for other guys. Okay.
And today we're gonna win. Team Sky taking care of stuff.
With the pressure on for a much-needed win, it's not long before Matt has his hands full, keeping an enthusiastic but inexperienced Luke from chasing after any competitor who overtakes them.
Luke started chasing down groups of 6.
Yeah.
And I said, no, just let him race, and we can't control that.
The punishing mountain climbs are separating the groups, but the Domestique's strength keeps Edvald in contention at the front of the race.
Green edge attacking. Guys getting dropped.
Matt gets updates on weather conditions to relay to the rest of the team.
Feels like it's tail or at the moment,
yeah,
but not too much.
It's like this then.
They're controlling it pretty well.
Yeah.
At the end of the climbs, Edvald is in a great position and the Domestiques drop back.
Very good job, guys.
Luke and Michael are pleased with their efforts.
When I've done my job and I'm floating to the back of the peloton, and you can see the 3 or 4 guys charging ahead, to me that's like, it's really nice to see the team working like that.
I always knew coming into my first year as a pro, it wasn't going to be me crossing the line with my hands in the air. But you know, when you sort of when you really commit to the team, you sort of get a sense of achievement as well, and you get a buzz off that.
In the closing stage of the race, Edvald and rival Simon Clarke have made a break from the rest of the pack. Even though ultimately they'll race each other to the line, for now they work together, each taking a turn at the front. But as they near the finish, the cooperation ends. It's down to an individual sprint to the line. At last, the Domestique's painstaking groundwork pays off. Edvald delivers an amazing burst of power to take the win.
Yeah! Well done, boys. Thank you, guys. Great job. Okay. They all feel very much for this one, I think. They've been building this one up, and then today to get first, that was good.
It's really nice to get the victory. That's always nice, and when you feel strong.
2 days ago, that Norwegian day, this was Edvald's day. Like every group of people, I don't think there's anybody cheering for anybody else on the road today. It's like Edvald, Edvald, Edvald.
Good man, good job.
About 10 times I said, Luke, please slow down. I'm not going to ask you again. Slow down. I saw a bit of myself in him. He was nervous at the start about which groups could go, and that's how I am. He was on everything, and I had to tell him just to chill out and things will be all right.
When you've sort of done your job all day, your whole team's done their job, everyone's done their bit. When you hear from the team, like, you know, your teammates just got first, you get a real buzz, and you know, that's what you've done all your work for. And yeah, big smile on my face when I heard the boys finish the job off. So awesome.
bit of adrenaline right now. Just gotta calm down a little bit.
That emotion of contributing to a team effort almost equal to winning myself.
Luke did an awesome job. Everybody did their job perfectly today, you know, so it was good.
You deserve that one today, guys. I mean, all of you guys, huh? Perfect day.
Edvald secures the leader's yellow jersey and goes on to win the Tour overall.
I think it's a peculiar sport in a sense that, you know, the team don't win. You know, the individual wins, despite the fact that you cannot win without a team.
The tireless efforts of the Iron Men of cycling are rarely publicly acknowledged. The glory goes to the riders they support. But for this unique breed, the knowledge of a job well done is reward in itself.
You have to kind of take all of those little parts of the race or your goals or your job description for that day. There's nobody coming around and there's nothing in the results that you get an A+ or a little tick. So you kind of have to give them to yourself.
I think I'm definitely sort of finding my feet now, and certainly, you know, the rest of the season I'll be hoping to step up my game and, you know, not get results necessarily, but just to you know, be there for the team a little bit more.
With maturity, I understand what cycling has given me. The moments that stick with me are the moments that I've shared with teammates when we've struggled through mountain stages together. That's what I remember, and that's why I really love what I do.
It's this profound sense of camaraderie with the team that leaves Michael conflicted about his future.
You know, if you ask me when it's pouring down with rain and it's freezing cold, I'd say I'm pretty closer to being retired. You know? But then after the finish line, I'm like, I love this.
Edvald Boasson Hagen is a star and leader in his own right. But in the service of Dave's Tour de France ambitions, he will find himself carrying bottles as a domestique for Bradley Wiggins.
Bradley Wiggins has been left behind. What the going on? Through me.
It's so much more than just a bike race.
Get back.
No, you have to succeed the Tour de France. It is a conscious sacrifice.
Go, 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 go.
Mission complete.